Hey there, everybody. Thanks again for joining me with another installment from my book, 50 Hikes in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. I am your host and the author of the book, Tom Funk. Today, we are going to be hiking in Indian Lake State Park on the Chippewa Trail. And it's going to be about a 1.3 mile hike. It'll take you probably 45 minutes to an hour unless you poke around like I do. This is an easy hike today, and it's going to be through cedar swamp and onto an undeveloped beach as well. For you map geeks, you're going to need the USGS 7.5 Manistique West, and the Indian Lake State Park map is probably a better one to use since it's a short trail and it's in a developed area. If you're looking to camp, they do have a modern campground, and you're just going to need tennis shoes on this one, and pets are allowed. Alright, so during the wetter times after the glaciers retreated, Indian Lake would have been called Indian Bay, as it was connected to Lake Michigan until its water level dropped. Today, it is the Upper Peninsula's fourth largest lake at 8,600 acres. And although large, it is not very deep. It averages less than 15 feet in depth. Indian Lake State Park was acquired in 1932, and the Civilian Conservation Corps built many of the structures in the park which still stand today. Experience a northern swamp as this nature trail skirts around and through a habitat that most would never venture into. And although the footing may be muddy in the spring or after rains, it is mostly passable during these times, and it does dry out by midsummer. For Manistique, you're going to take County Route 442, 4 miles to the west, and the park entrance is on your right. And after the contact station, you're going to turn left, taking the road toward the day-use area. Turn left at the parking area and park all the way at the end of the last parking lot. The trailhead is between the lot and the boat launch. So you're going to hike clockwise, and you'll be immediately greeted by a young forest thick with white spruce. The ground is covered in partridge berry, gold thread, mosses, and young balsam firs. This wide, well-maintained trail is flat overall, since you will be in a swampy area, and swamps tend to be flat. There are some exposed routes and no trail markers leading the way last time I hiked, but thankfully there are trail mats with "You are here" signs designating your location at intersections. Your first intersection is a quarter mile in and is uphill from the parking area. This is dry earth habitat. This area has some towering white pines as well. Notice some larger red pines and paper birch and even some balsam poplar in the area. You are a few hundred feet from the county road and you will hear the traffic. Notice your trail made of crushed gravel as it parallels the county road. The vegetation thickens as you leave the dry habitat and twist toward a noticeably swampier environment. Typical wetland species such as speckled alder, elderberry, and swamp thistle are sure signs that you are in an upper peninsula swamp. Be grateful that you are on a well-used trail near civilization, not deep in some impenetrable mire, say like the delirious wilderness. Continue to wind as you turn north, and 0.4 miles from your last intersection, you'll cross a bridge over a small creek, and you'll parallel it for about a tenth of a mile, then cross back over again and follow the right bank. Surrounded by cedars, you'll notice the tea color to the water. The cedars and mosses stain the water with tannic acid when they decompose. Not to worry, tannic acid is the component that gives your iced tea and hot tea its color. It's the same thing. Ask backpackers what they think of tannic acid stained water. Most will tell you it is tasty because it is usually high in mineral content. The wind has blown down a few large trees in and around the area, and it does open up the canopy, and it allows black ash to attempt to fill the void. As you bend away from the creek toward the right, Indian Lake becomes visible through the thick forest. As you approach the water, a natural sand beach comes into view, but quickly loses out to the encroaching forest. Cedars perch right on the edge of the lake, preventing any attempt by nature to create a sandy beach. So don't expect to do any swimming while you're hiking on this trail. Your footing is slightly elevated and dry due to the sandy substrate. Although you are only 10 feet from the lake, the cedars make access difficult. However, these trees act as a natural blind for viewing wildlife. If you're lucky, you'll see some mergansers and wild ducks, and maybe in the mornings you could see a loon. And it's because you're only about 20 feet from the lake, and keep walking and look for gaps and use your binoculars and scan the lake for wildlife. You know you're nearing the end of the hike when you see buoys indicating a no-wake zone around the boat launch. You'll cross over the boat launch parking area to a paved trail and immediately turn right at the first intersection, back onto a well-worn path, and in 100 feet, you'll be back to the parking lot. Well, that's a short one. It's a short hike, short installment in the book. And it's just a loop hike. Does a little winding around. And it's a cool little leg stretcher, especially if you're in the area driving across the state. So check it out. Chippewa Trail at Indian Lake State Park near Manistique in the central part of the Upper Peninsula. And thanks for joining me. We will continue to do this again. Our next trail is going to be the Gold, Red, and Blue Trail on the east end of the Upper Peninsula. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you later.